And when we were growing up, we actually went to the university elementary school, so we never had to ride a school bus to school until my sister and I got into junior and senior high school. So our farmhouse that we grew up in is in this cluster of houses. So there were about 5 of us that got on the school bus together across the street in my neighbor's driveway. And when we came home, we were the first ones off the bus and we got dropped off in our own driveway. And the way my parents' house is set up, if you look down the driveway, you can see the barn in the back of the property. And my sister was an equestrian her entire life, as long as I can remember. She loved riding horses. And at some point, my parents actually rebuilt the old barn on our property. They used college students to help them rebuild. That's my first lesson I learned. College students will do a lot for a home-cooked meal. And so we had this barn that was kind of built into a hill like the old style barns are. And Megan had her horse back there. And we had a couple of pet goats, because if you don't know, horses get lonely. They need friends, usually other horses, but they'll also bond with goats. Now, if you've never met a goat, they're actually kind of like little puppies. They'll come when called. They recognize you and go, oh, that person means food. So one day we're getting off the bus, and we look back and you can see the barn. You can see on the peak of the barn roof 2 little goats. They had somehow gotten out of the fence, walked around the back of the barn where it was built into a hill, hopped up onto the roof, and climbed to the very top of the barn roof. Now, my sister, who's 2 years older than me, is a little more anxious than me, which is saying something because I'm a little bit anxious. And she immediately is like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, don't worry about it. We unlock the door and I'll drop off my backpack. I'll go get the goats. I'll put them back in the fence. It's fine. She's like, oh my God, what do we do? So she's freaking out and she's going, I got to call mom. Well, at this point, our mom has worked on the university campus for a while, and I kind of had in my head, you don't bother mom at work for things. Like, what's she gonna do? There's goats on the roof. So I'm like, no, don't tell mom. I have this handled. So I go and I get the goats off the roof and get them back into the fence and try to figure out how they got through the fence, because it's an electric fence. What are you doing? And meanwhile, my sister's inside trying to call my mom. Turns out my mom was in kind of an important meeting at work with a lot of big bosses. And so my sister got a hold of somebody else who worked in her office. And the university has these little memo pads, like so-and-so called, check for callback. You guys know those usual office kind of memo pad things. So my mom's office mate had filled this out. Your daughter called, goats on roof. That was it. So my mom gets out of her big meeting, and I get back in the house, and I'm like, what did you do? You told mom. You didn't need to tell mom. My mom gets out of her big meeting, and she has this memo. Your daughter called, goats on roof. So she got home from work that day. We all had kind of a laugh over dinner about this note. She kept that note pinned to her little cubicle wall until she retired. So that's my story of don't tell mom, but my sister already did.